What's up, sports bettors? We are going to be going through the best player props on ThriveFantasy, which is a PrizePicks competitor. So why do we use ThriveFantasy? Why do we love using it for NFL player props, right? So it's pretty simple, right? We place bets on the OddsJam YouTube on all the major sports books, FanDuel, DraftKings, and fantasy companies. Underdog, Fantasy, Thrive, wherever the value is, we're going to follow it. You got that right. So what you'll notice on Thrive is you're betting $10 to win $36 on any two-pick entry. 10 to win 36. So it's basically prize picks, but you're getting 10 to win 36 as opposed to 10 to win 30. So the way both of these platforms work is they're fixed parlay platforms. Any two picks you select, as you see on prize picks, are going to be 10 to win 30. Doesn't matter if you take overs, unders, doesn't matter if you switch the pick, 10 to win 30. Always. So they're fixed parlay platforms. So we've gone through that. You can kind of like break down the odds on Thrive Fantasy, PrizePicks, Underdog, which is why you see them on OddsJam. And there will be an article below and a video in the end screen kind of about the math, the strategy behind Underdog Fantasy and PrizePicks. But long story short, in a two-pick entry on Thrive, you're getting minus 111 on both the over and the under. So these platforms, right, Underdog, Thrive, PrizePicks, they're fixed parlay platforms. You take the overs, the unders, any two picks, you're always getting the same line. So they don't vary their prices, right? The implied odds aren't varying depending on if you take the over or the under. So for Marquise Brown, which is a positive EV bet, it's a bet from the OddsJam positive EV tool. We definitely want to be on the over, right? Why? Well, 1, 2, all the sports books, right? If you ignore PrizePicks and Underdog, because these are, just like Thrive fantasy companies, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Every sports book is telling us, hey, the over should be heavily juiced, right? Brown is a lot more likely to go over 5.5 receptions than under 5.5 receptions. DraftKings has this minus 155. Bet Online, a very sharp offshore sportsbook, has this minus 149. Pinnacle has this minus 139. So we're getting a lot of value, right? Every bookmaker is pricing this minus 140-ish to minus 155-ish. And we can get on Thrive minus 111. That seems like pretty good value, right? So what you can actually do is just use a no vig odds calculator to kind of, back out, okay, based on these sportsbooks market, what should the true odds be with the vig removed? So basically, based on where DraftKings is juicing their market to on the over and the under, what should the true price for over 5.5 receptions be? So according to DraftKings' model, it should be minus 131 on the over and plus 131 on the under, right? This is a zero vig market. The plus number equals the minus number for the over and the under. That's a market with no juice. But what the sportsbooks do is, of course, they want to make money. They juice their markets. So you have to remove the juice to get the true win probability and the true odds for your bet, which is essentially just like finding the midpoint of the market. So DraftKings, you can see plus 115 to minus 155. They have 40 cents of juice. So kind of the midpoint, if you remove that juice, remove the vig, the true odds for over 5.5 receptions would be minus 135, right? That would be the true price. And we're getting minus 111 on Thrive. So if you think about that for Bet Online, their market has a bit less vig. The true price would be, like minus 132, minus 130. So once again, we're getting value on Thrive. Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker, they only have 35 cents in juice. The true price to them would be minus 122. Once again, we're getting value on Thrive. Pinnacle's less bullish, right? They have the over less juiced. DraftKings is most bullish on the over, right? They have the over the most juiced. But regardless, to every sportsbook, this minus 111 on Thrive seems incredible. Pinnacle has this minus 139, plus 104, so minus 119 is the true odds. We're getting minus 111, which is better odds. So what you'll notice on OddsJam is the bet in bold with a circle around it, which is always the play you want to be on, is always at lower odds, right? Better odds than the no vig odds. We're essentially finding bets that are on sale. We're getting better prices than they should be offered at due to discrepancies in bookmaker odds, right? So we're treating every single sports book as an independent data point of where the line should be set, right? And then we're figuring out what should the true price be and where's the value. So here it's pretty clear that, yeah, the value's on Thrive, right? The value is on Thrive Fantasy. Being able to get over 5.5 receptions at minus 111 is ridiculous value, right? We're getting 15 cents of improvement from the Nove odds. So the profit margin is 6.18%, and that's basically, that should sum up for you how you can get rich sports betting. We're getting a 6.18% return on capital in one bet. Pretty insane. The Nove odds is 126.54. So this bet is winning. You know, again, it's free to browse odds on OddsJam. Any player props you want to look at, you can browse odds completely for free on OddsJam, right? So we can go through the math kind of this specific entry. So our first pick is going to be Marquise Brown over 5.5 receptions. We're going to be betting $1,000 to win $2,600 in profit if we win. So I'll increase the size here in a second. But this is our first pick, right? So this is pick number 1. So now what we want to know is like, okay, what's the win probability for pick number 1? Pick number 1. So what you can do is you take the Nove odds, and again, it may seem like we're going through a lot of math, but this is literally just like industry standard formulas, right? Like, and if you don't care about the math, it's just like be rational, you know, be intelligent. You know, like when all the sports books have the over heavily juiced, minus 140 to minus 155, and you can get that bet minus 111 on a different sports book, that's a bet you at least want to look into because it should be pretty profitable, right? You're getting 44 cents of improvement from DraftKings. Pretty incredible. So always look for value as a sports bettor. But what this odds converter calculator does is it essentially takes an odd, right, and converts it, and there's some text below that you can kind of, you know, read about. It just takes an odd and converts it into a win probability. So if the true odds is minus 126.54, we should be winning this bet 55.86% of the time. So that's the first play we have, right? So what we can do is we can go to pick number 2. So I'll just create this already for pick number 2. So we got pick number 2, and then we have win probability of pick number 2. So then what we're going to need is, okay, we're betting 1,000 to win 2,600. So this is our stake, and this is our profit, right? So essentially, what we're going to need is what is the win probability of our entry. And all that's going to be is the win probability of pick 1 times pick 2, right? And then we want the loss probability of our entry. So let's figure out this first. So that's going to be 1 minus our win probability. Our entry is going to win or it's going to lose. So let's go down and let's see our second pick. Antonio Gibson, under 45.5 rushing yards. Lower profit margin, right? Only less than 1%. But this one was 6.18%. And I need something to pair it with, right? I need a really good bet to pair this incredible Marquise Brown over 5.5 receptions with. Which is, I mean, it jumps off the page in terms of how good it is, how much freaking value is right there. So I'm all over that. Then we have Antonio Gibson, under 45.5 rushing yards, bet in bold with a circle around it. That's what we want to be on. And again, you can just like filter. Whenever I do a fantasy video, I just filter to just see PrizePicks, Thrive, and Underdog, which is, you know, something you can do. So here, once again, all the sports books basically have the under very juiced. Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker in the world, they have the under at minus 135. All the sports books are kind of aligned. Seems pretty great. Nove odds, minus 111, minus 112.56. So the win probability for this bet is lower, right? The true odds is less negative, so the win probability is lower. So we have 52.95% as the win probability for this bet. And this is Antonio Gibson, under 45.5 rushing yards, right? Did I get that right? Antonio Gibson, yes, I did. Under 45.5 rushing yards. So now we have two bets. We know the win probability for each. These bets are uncorrelated. So the probability we win both bets is just what's the probability you win this bet times the probability of this bet. So now what we know is, okay, we're winning our entry 29.6% of the time. So 29.6% of the time we win 2.6K in profit. Then 70% of the time we lose $1,000. So what's our edge, right? What is our edge? So again, 29.577% of the time we're winning 2.6K in profit. The rest of the time we're losing our stake of $1,000. And what's the issue? Oh, there we go. So there we go. So the edge of this bet has a profit margin of $65. Incredible. Quantified mathematically using real-time market data, sportsbooks are very efficient betting markets, right? You shouldn't be trying to outsmart the sportsbooks randomly using your head, watching highlight reels. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, right? You have 60 data points. You have like hundreds of sports books, I should even say, in the sports betting market, all setting lines independently, right? Caesars, they invest billions of dollars into their pricing models and how they're pricing lines. Same with DraftKings, same with BetOnline, and Pinnacle is the most sophisticated of all sports books in terms of pricing, right? You shouldn't be betting. I mean, you are literally going to go broke if you're placing bets on Marquise Brown under 5.5 receptions on Thrive when you could be getting plus 115 on DraftKings. Right? So it's all about following the sports books, identifying these inefficiencies in the market, and taking advantage of them. So let's make some freaking money, guys.